Well, then, without further ado, our guest speaker is a front end developer by profession and a community champion by passion. He is an organizer for GDG Jalandhar and a Google developers expert for Firebase and Web Technologies. He has given 100+ talks and workshops for communities over the past 5 years. His areas of expertise are web, Firebase, Google Cloud Platform, and UI UX design. Let us all welcome Mr. Vrijraj Singh in building web apps with Firebase. Let's give him a virtual round of applause.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, boss.
Yeah, so let me share my screen and yeah, you can go on. Okay, am I audible right now?
Yes, boss.
Mhm. Is it my screen is visible to you all? Just need to confirm. Okay, I guess my screen is visible, right?
Yes,
Okay, cool. So thank you so much, Christian, for the wonderful introductions, and thank you so much, entire GDSC team, for inviting me for GDSC GTech Summit 2021. So my name is Vrijraj, and I'm a Google developer expert for web technology and Firebase, and also I'm a developer advocate for Drona HQ, which is a low-code platform where we can drag and drop and we can create extensive web applications, whether it can be related to mobile, web, any applications. And apart from these things, like I'm also a Google developer or GDG organizer for India, in chapter name is Punjab, Jalandhar. So today in this sessions, I'm going to talk about uh, how we can build web applications with the help of Firebase. So here I'm going to talk about like what is Firebase and why we are using Firebase and what are the best practices for the Firebase and how we can build extensive web applications with the help of Firebase. So let's get started. So this is my intro part, and yeah. So here in the first part, I'll talk about like the web fundamental because we want to implement Firebase in the web technology. So we'll explore what the web fundamental, and then we'll go through the Firebase part. So like if I talk about web, so web has a three fundamental core component. First one is website. So website is just like as a collections of web page. Like you can create a web page with the help of HTML, CSS, or the JavaScript part, where HTML provides the structure of your web page. You can design your web page with the help of CSS. And if you want to customize your web page, let's say you want to add some interactivity, so you can use the concept of JavaScript. Okay, and each website have their specific entry page, which is also called as home page, and each website have their specific name. We also called as domain name of your website, let's say google.com or twitter.com or the facebook.com. So these all are the websites. and we can create these websites with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The second one part is like we can create a website with the help of HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript part. And now we need to run our web page, like how it will look like. So we need a browser. So browser is just like as a software where we can run our web page, and you can visualize your web page like how it's visible, how the image is looking, and what type of component we have in a browser. So in the market, we have a lot of browsers like Google Chrome, Safari, Microsoft Edge, Opera, a lot of things. But like each browser have their specific rendering engine that will render your HTML, CSS, JavaScript code, means the web page into the GUI part. So if I talk about like Google Chrome, we have Chrome V8 engine, and similarly, if I talk about the Mozilla. So we, uh, we have Spider Monkey, and similarly Opera we have V8 engine. So these all are the rendering engine for the JavaScript, where you can run your JavaScript code. So in simple terms, like we can create a website with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we can run our web page for the testing, or maybe for collecting the web page from the server with the help of browser. The next third terminology is called as server. So basically server is just like as a computer where we can put our HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or many any document, and we can access those documents through the browser with the help of internet, and browser having a rendering engine that will render your HTML, CSS, JavaScript code into the UI part. So these all are the basic third terminologies, three core fundamental like website, browser, and the server. And in the market, we have a three types of server. Like first one is called as web server. We use web server for serving a web page over the network. Let's say whenever you're opening a website, let's say gmail.com, Google Drive, or let's say Zoom Meet call. So here you just need to hit the URL, hit the website name, and then you will see the web page. So whenever you're like accessing a web page, you need to use web server. And over here in the web server, you have to use HTTP protocol, the hypertext transfer protocol. And second server is called as email server. So let's say whenever you are working on, or whenever you are sending or receiving a mail over the network, so here we have to use email server. And basically, email server will work on these two protocols, like POP, Post Office Protocol, and the second one is SMTP protocol, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And the third one is like if you are, let's say, if you have some video, or if you have some media file, or maybe if you have some picture, you want to like let's say download the pictures or the media file through with the help of internet. So you need to use file server. So file server is basically whenever you are uploading or downloading a file over the network, so we need to use file server, and here we need to use FTP server. So basically server we have a three type of categories like web server for accessing a web page, email server for accessing our email, and the third one is whenever we want to download or upload the file over the network, we need to use file server. And we have specific like protocol for each server. Let's say for web server, we need to use HTTP protocol. For email server, we have SMTP and POP. And the third one part is for file server, we have FTP server, file transfer protocol. So this is a basic core fundamental for building of web applications. Like if you want to create your portfolio, you can create a portfolio. You can build a website, means collections of web page with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you can test your website with the help of browser, and you can upload those HTML, CSS, JavaScript file into the server. And here you can connect your server with your domain, and you can access those websites through the browser. So now, like it's a kind of like fun for as a student. Like whenever I can create a website, I can earn money, because in terms of like we as a developer, we need to create a solution so that everyone can use that particular solutions, and we can also grow ourselves. So the next one part is, let's say you are a student, you are a university student, and you have an idea. Let's say I have an idea about startup. I can create web applications, or maybe I can create an Android or iOS application. So what you do, like in the initial stage, like you have an idea, so you're a little bit confused, like what type of technology I can use for implementing my idea, or like how to start, like what type of like do I need to create a some kind of logical UI, or do I need to choose the technical stack? Let's say for the front end, we need to work on XYZ technologies. So what type of technologies we will select? So these all are the kind of confusion for the early stage idea. So let's say you have decided the idea, the technical stack, like I will use for the front end, let's say HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And for the backend, I will use, let's say, Node.js for writing our backend logic. And I will deploy this entire website into the server. So then you need to write a lot of amount of code in terms of like front end, in terms of back end, and you need to write a lot of amount of code related to security or connecting a database, and it takes a lot of huge effort for as a developer. So sometimes like you write a code, and then there will be a, some like challenges or the difficulties for as a student or as a developer. First one is it's related to security. Like I have created a website, whether the website is secure or not, or it's reliable or not, or maybe it's difficult or challenging task for me for managing this entire web applications. Let's say 100 plus 100K users is using my applications in a day. So we need to manage the infrastructure, or maybe it's related to database, like whether my database is capable or not for this entire web applications. So these type of challenges we will face for building up entire solutions for the idea. So that's why Firebase came into the picture. Like we as a developer, we just need to focus on the front end part, and you can use the concept of Firebase, and you can connect your front end applications with the help of Firebase, and then you need no need to manage the infrastructure part, or uh, you you just need to focus on the front end part, and Firebase is providing a lot of things. So in simple terms, like Firebase is a unified platform where you can build Android, iOS, web, game, any type of applications with the help of Firebase. And you just need to focus on the front end part. Like if you are working on, let's say, and as a mobile developer, you just need to create a screen with the help of, let's say, if you are working on Android, so you have to create a screen with Kotlin UI part, and then you can connect these screen with the help of Firebase, like for collecting a data from the database. And similarly, you can like apply the authentications part. You can send the notifications. You can do that. So if I talk about for the web developer, we just need to create a screens, the UI part with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we can connect this front end part with the help of Firebase, and my applications is live, and you don't need to write lots of amount of code. And one of the best thing about Firebase, you just need to build your front end applications. No need to manage the infrastructure part, like whether my backend logic is secure or not, or it's reliable or not, because Firebase is providing a lot of backend services. You just need to connect with your backend services in with front end. So, so that's why Firebase has a mission. Firebase's mission is to help the developers succeed. Like we just need to focus on the quality. Like here we can focus on the front end part, and Firebase is providing a lot of backend services. You just need to connect, and then you can use it. And one of the best thing about Firebase, like if I have a startup, or let's say I have an early stage company, so like I can use Firebase in any platform. Let's say like I am working on iOS, so I can use Firebase. Let's say I can create an iOS application with the help of Swift as a language. You just need to create a screens, and you can connect those screens with the help of Firebase. And the second one part is like if you are a mobile developer, like you are working on Android or maybe cross-platform platform, let's say Flutter, so you can connect those applications with the help of Firebase, and you can use any services inside Firebase. Or if you are working as a web developer, you can also use Firebase for creating a large-scale web applications. And even if you are working on C++ or let's say Python or any other language, you can also use Firebase. And one of the best thing about Firebase, like like if you see in the market, like let's say we have a lot of games who are basically backed by Firebase, so you can build a lot of games with the help of Firebase. You like if you're working on Unity. So as I mentioned, like Firebase is providing a lot of services. We just need to create a front-end applications and we just need to connect our front-end app with Firebase. So inside Firebase, Firebase is a it's a kind of big bag. So inside a bag, we can have a lot of services. Let's say I have created a HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a web page with the help of these technologies, and having a screen. Let's say a screen name is login. So here we have a field that's an email and the password, and then we have a button for create user or the authentications or maybe sign up. So you can use Firebase services for authenticating the user. So, or if you want to save any data into the Firebase, you can also use Firebase as a database. Or if you want to trigger the push notifications, you can also trigger a push notifications with the help of Firebase. So as I mentioned, like Firebase is providing a lot of services. So here, each services is categorized into the set of three categories. Like we have first one is build better applications, and the second one is improve your app quality, and the third one is grow and engage your users. So first one is build better applications. Let's say I am an early stage entrepreneur and I have an idea. I have created my front end applications with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we have a website which is built on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Now we need to like authenticate the user. Let's say if you go any website, there will be a login or logout or maybe a sign up screen or for creating your account. So, so for like in general way, what you will do, like you will create a logic. Let's say you can choose any language for writing a backend logic for user authentications. Let's say in PHP, you can write a backend logic with the help of Python or maybe Node.js, and then you need to write a lot of amount of code for authentication part. But there might be a issues related to security because you have written your own code and maybe you need to debug or test your applications before going to the production. But if you can trust on Firebase because Firebase is a like it's a complete product built by the Google, and here Firebase is providing authentication services like you can authenticate your users with your applications like maybe Android, iOS, or the web applications. And the second one part is like you have your portfolio which is built on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you wanted to deploy or maybe you wanted to host your website. You can use Firebase hosting as a service. And the third one part is cloud functions. So as I mentioned, like Firebase is providing a lot of services. So sometimes you need to write your custom business logic. So here you can use cloud functions for writing your custom business logic. Or if you are working on a machine learning, let's say we have created a website where user can like enter their data, and then we can apply some machine learning model on the that particular data. So we can use machine learning, Firebase machine learning. And the next part is like Firebase is providing a database as a service. So here we have a two database like Firebase real-time database and the Cloud Firestore, which I talk about later in the presentations. And also like sometime like you have an application you just need to upload, or let's say you need to store media file. Let's say we have a web page where user can upload their profile picture. So you need to store that particular profile picture like JPEG file or PNG file. So you can use cloud storage as a technology. And then we have a Firebase extensions. So Firebase extension is just like it's a pre-packaged, pre-built cloud functions. You can use like whenever user will upload their profile picture, maybe the image of that particular profile picture is around 30 MB. So we need to reduce the size of the image before storing into the storage service in the Firebase. So you can use Firebase extension like reduce the size of the image or maybe sending a confirmation mail to the user. So these kind of extension you can use for creating applications. So next one part is let's say I have built the applications with the help of these services, and now we need to improve our app quality. Like how we can improve our app quality. So here we have a presenting sections. The crash settings is just like as a you will get a real-time crash report, like your application is crashed due to this kind of things. So you can improve these things. And the next one part is performance monitoring. You will get the performance report, like for let's say for you login screen, user need to wait for a 3 second, and then user will navigate to the main dashboard after a 3 second. So here we have a performance report, like user need to wait for a 3 second for loading screen. So you can improve, you can reduce that loading time with the help of performance monitoring. And the next one is test lab. Like if you are working on a mobile development field, so you have created an Android or maybe iOS application. Now you need to test your Android or iOS applications. So what you can do in general life, you just need to go to the store, you just need to purchase the mobile devices, and then you will install the applications, and then you can test whether the application is successfully compatible or not, or the software is working or not properly, or the UI is working or not properly. So this is the kind of headache kind of work, because we need to invest a lot of money for purchasing the devices. Rather than what you can do here, you can use the concept of test lab. Like you have created a mobile devices, let's say mobile applications, let's say iOS, Android, or maybe Flutter applications. So we have a build APK file or maybe installable file. You just need to upload your installable file in the test lab, and you can select the devices. Let's say I wanted to test this applications, let's say Samsung devices or maybe Pixel or any other devices, let's say Apple, anything. So you can test it, you can get the real-time report like this device is having some issues related to this line of code, so you can improve this one. And the next one part is app distributions. Like you can distribute your applications. Let's say I have an idea, and I have created applications for my startup. So first I need to release these applications as an alpha program. Like we have some set of users who only can access my application. So here we can use the concept of app distributions. Like we can divide the user base into the chunks of part, and we can apply some sort of testing like alpha testing, beta testing, this kind of testing. The third one part is like the first, like we have created applications with the help of Firebase, with the help of these services like authentication, hosting, cloud functions, machine learning. Then we have a database, then storage for uploading a media file, and then we have an extension. Now we have improved our app quality, like how with the help of test analytics, performance monitoring, test labs, and the app distribution. Now my startups or the idea is grown. Now we need to focus on the user part, like how we can grab more users. So here we have a third services like grow and engage your users. So your application is ready, your website is ready. So you need to check what type of user are visiting your website or maybe applications. So you can use the concept of as analytics. Here you will get the real-time report about the users, like let's say 20% male users is using your website, or 30 let's say 70% female user is using your website, and you will get the analytics report related to country specific, like in Philippines, like specifically from this city, 40% user is accessing my website, or so you can get the idea about your application scope, and you can focus on the marketing part for advertising purpose. And the second one part is for the predictions here. Like here we can get the real-time predictions report. Like there might be a possibilities like this kind of module will get a lot of load balance load. So this kind of prediction we will get. And the third one part is cloud messaging. And one of the best part about Five is like this one for sending a push notifications. Like let's say we have an admin panel. Here we can write some customized text message, and then we can click on send push notifications. So those users who have installed their applications will get the push notifications. So we can send the push notifications with the help of Firebase Cloud Messaging. And the next one part is in-app messaging. In-app messaging is just like, let's say I have a startup related to Android applications, and we have 100 users who are using that particular Android applications. So I wanted to set, like I wanted to share some set of coupon code, let's say 20% user. So we can send customized coupon code to the 20% user with the help of in-app messaging, where we can use the concept of in-app testing. Yeah. And the next one part is remote config. Remote config is just like you can configure your applications while deploying, or your application is ready. You can check your configurations and can add REST APIs, whatever you want to do. And also the next part is A/B testing. Like if you are working on uh, Android applications or the iOS applications, you can test your applications let's say we have 100 users, so we can test these applications. Let's say 50% for this kind of UI, and for 50% users, the UI will be different. So we can collect the feedback like from 50%, this UI will be preferable from 50% users, and for this UI is preferable from 50% users. So you can use and you can collect the survey with the help of A/B testing. And then we have a dynamic links. Dynamic links is if I talk about for the web developers, so simply you can create a sort link for with the help of dynamic links. Like we have a Bitly URL, so you can create your custom Bitly URL. Let's say my domain is vrijraj.xyz, so we can create a large link into the sort link. Let's say vrijraj.xyz, let's say /123. So this is the shortened URL you can generate with the help of dynamic links. There is a lot of concepts behind the dynamic links for the Android or mobile devices. So now, like Firebase is providing a lot of services. Like you just need to focus on the front end part, and you need to select the services, which services you wanted to implement in your applications, and you can connect those applications and services, and you can use it. So the next part is so now I'll talk about like how like what type of services we can use for web development. So for web development, you can use these services. Like first one is Firebase authentications. Like you can create a web page with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you can connect these web page with the help of Firebase authentication services. Where you can authenticate your user with the help of authentication services. And the next one part is you can use cloud storage, real-time database as a database as a service in the Firebase for the web developers. And similarly, if you want to upload a media file, let's say PDF file or MP4 file, you can upload these files with the help of Firebase Cloud Storage as a service. Or your applications or maybe your website is ready, like your HTML CSS code is ready, you can deploy your HTML CSS code into the Firebase hosting part, and you will get the hosted URL. You can access the URL, you can share the URL with your user group. And sometimes you need to write your custom business logic. Let's say you need to create a custom REST APIs or your custom business backend logic. You can use the concept of cloud function. And a Firebase extension is just like as a pre-packaged, pre-built cloud functions. Let's say whenever user is uploading their profile pictures, we can reduce that the size of the image. Let's say 30 MB to the 10 MB, the size of the image with the help of Firebase extension. And similarly, like we have a website, we can send it push notifications to the user group, like those who have subscribed on the push notifications, so we can trigger a push notification. And also we can use the concept of dynamic links. Here we can create a certain URL, and we can get analytics about that particular URL. So, so let's start with Firebase authentications. Like, what is Firebase authentication? So, if I talk about like in general point of view, let's say I have created a website like a normal page having a UI, let's say with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and we have a login screen and sign up screen. So what you can do in general life, like you can use any backend language like Python or maybe PHP, Node, or any language. You just need to write a logic like whenever user will enter their email ID and the password, you need to check email ID and a password in a database. If the user is at this, password is matched, we can send to the browser end like user is matched, so we can navigate to the dashboard part. But here you need to write a lot of amount of code for the security part. Otherwise user can hack your web application. So what you can do here, rather than writing a lot of amount of code, you can use the directly concept of Firebase hosting. So Firebase hosting is a simple set of functions. You just need to use those functions in your web applications, and you can enable the Firebase authentication features like this is a very fast and easy way. So I'll give you, like, let's say we have a website. When we have integrated Firebase hosting as a concept, we have some set of functions. We just need to invoke those functions. And one of the best thing about Firebase hosting, like you can authenticate your user with the help of, let's say, third-party authentication service provider. Let's say you have seen a lot of websites like where you can authenticate or you can sign up with your Facebook account, or maybe you can sign up with your Google account or Twitter, GitHub, Microsoft. You can do anything. So similarly, in Firebase, you can apply those things. Like we have a different functions. Like whenever you want to use authenticate your user with the help of, let's say, Facebook, Twitter, Google, any third-party services, we have a separate functions. We just need to invoke that particular functions for authenticating our user. And also, like Firebase is providing other authentication services, just like you can authenticate your user with the help of email ID. You can authenticate your user with the help of phone number. Like you have a mobile number, you just need to enter the mobile number, and Firebase automatically give you the OTP, and then you can pass the OTP and you can authenticate your user. And this is a very easy. So here we have a set of functions. Like as I mentioned, like you don't need to write a lot of amount of code. So here we just need to invoke some sort of functions. Like here I'll give you the example. Like we have a web page with the help of we have built HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So here we have a UI having a two field for create the user account. So we have a field, let's say email ID and the password, and then we have a button for create user, or let's say sign up user. So when the user will enter their email ID and the password, and then the user will click on the button, so we can invoke this functions. So my function's name is create user. Okay. So here we can get the value. Let's say we can collect the value in the JavaScript in this email as a variable, and we can also collect the value of the password in the password as a variable. Okay. So now I'm using Firebase SDK 8. So Firebase is like having a lot of version. You can use any version. So here I'm going to talk about like SDK 8 version. Here the latest upcoming version, the version is 9. You can use it, but I'm explaining Firebase SDK 8. So so now I want to authenticate my user, like whenever user will enter their email and password, we need to create an account for that particular user. So what we have to do here, first we are using Firebase, so that's why we have to write Firebase. Inside Firebase, we are using authentication services, so we just need to invoke .auth method, okay? And then inside authentications, what we want to do, we want to create an account of the user with the help of email and password, where we will get the email and password from the UI. So here we have a predefined function, create user with email and password. Okay, so this is a simple step. We don't need to write a lot of code for checking the user email ID and the password is existing in the database or not. You just need to invoke this simple line, Firebase authentication, create user with email and password. And this is a function, create user with email and password. You just need to pass two things like email and a password, and that's it. So your account will be created, and it's a very secure. You do not need to like take a lot of tension about the security part. And again, like this is a logic will work as a JavaScript promises. So promises is just like as a real life promises. Like let's say I promise you to teach you about Firebase. So maybe there will be a two result. Like these promises will be successfully resolved, or maybe promises will be rejected. So you can handle with these promises with the help of then and catch block. See here we have a catch block. Like if the Firebase authentications, like if the user account is successfully created, so, okay. Or if we get some error or the issues while creating a account of the user, so we can handle with the help of catch log, and here we can get the error message. So this is a simple logic. Let's say if you want to log in your user with the help of email and email ID and password, so we have some separate methods like sign in user with email and password. Let's say if you want to authenticate your user with the help of Google account, so you can use sign up with Google. So these kind of methods you can just invoke, and you can create applications in very easy way. The next one part is the cloud storage, cloud Firestore. So like you have created a website and you have applied the authentication field for authenticate your user. Now there is a one page for the contact, and here we can apply the field, let's say name of the person, and then we have a next text area field for let's say writing some custom message, and then user can, when the user will pass the content and then will click on the submit part, so you can store these data into the database. So Firebase is providing a lot database services. So here we have a Cloud Firestore. So Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database. Like, so what is NoSQL? So first I'll talk about like database. What is a database? The database is just like as a strategy or as a kind of software where we can store our data, where we can apply CRUD operations very easy way, in an organized way. CRUD means, let's say I want to create a data, or let's say I wanted to read the data in, or let's say I wanted to update the data, or maybe I wanted to delete the data. So where we can apply all these CRUD operations in the database, that will be easy way. So in the market, we have a two type of database, like structured database and the unstructured database. So if I talk about the structured database, we have like whenever we want to store the data into the database, so we have a proper structure or the schema. So we can store that particular data in the database part, structured database part. And here we have an example of MySQL database. Like if I talk about structure, so here we can store the data in terms of row and column. But if I talk about unstructured database, we don't have a proper schema. Like maybe it's kind, maybe it may be related to machine generated data or the user generated data. So you can directly store those data into like unstructured database, or we can say NoSQL database. So in the market, we have a lot of database which is in a category of NoSQL. Let's say MongoDB, Cloud, Firestore, HBase, Cassandra. There are a lot of database you can implement. So Cloud Firestore is one of the NoSQL database. Here we can store like unstructured data, and then this is very fast, and this is like you can apply any CRUD operations. Like CRUD means you can create a data, you can read the data, you can update the data, or you can delete the data in very easy way. Here we have a lot of queries. You just need to invoke set of functions for applying the CRUD operations. And then one of the best thing about Cloud Firestore is it's a truly serverless application. Say like let's say uh, if you are using WhatsApp, so you are right now in the in network zone, so you send a message. But let's say you are not, you are in a zone where let's say there is a no internet connectivity. You can send a message to the user, but it's not like sent to the user. It will be waiting. But whenever you come to the network area, so it will be directly synced with that particular user. And message will be sent. So this is the kind of applications we can build with the help of Cloud Firestore. And the next one part is it's a real-time database. Like whenever the user will update the data into the database, in a same time you will get the actual data, like what is the updated one. Okay, and one of the best thing about Cloud Firestore is it's provide offline support. Let's say I have created applications with the help of Cloud Firestore where we have uh, like read some data from the Cloud Firestore in our applications, and let's say I just got an issue related to network, so I can still access that particular data because it provides offline support. Okay, so I'll show you the simple example like how we can store a data into the Cloud Firestore. So as I mentioned, like Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database. So like so in the database like Cloud Firestore, we need to create a reference. Let's say I wanted to use Cloud Firestore. So here we can create a database reference. Now I'm creating a database reference like db is equal to firebase.firestore because in the authentication we have used firebase.auth because we want to implement authentication service. Here I wanted to implement Firestore services, so that's why I've created a reference name is uh, Firebase.Firestore. Now, in NoSQL database, we can store the data in terms of collections. Inside collections, we can have a multiple documents, and each document can have a record. So here we have a database reference. which is name is DB, and then we can define the collections name. So let's say my collections name is user, and inside that particular collections, I can store multiple documents. So for creating a document, you just need to use add method, and inside add method, you can pass the JavaScript object. So here we have a JavaScript object like having a field that's a name and email ID. And then again, this entire logic will work as a JavaScript promises. So we can handle these promises with the help of then and catch block. See here we have a then block. If this entire logic is successfully executed, means the data is added into the database part. Here you can get you can log the value like document is created and whose document ID is this one. Or if we face any issues or technical issues, so here you can get the technical issues with the help of catch block, like the promises is rejected, you can handle with this. So it's a easy step. Like for adding a data, you need to use add method. For collecting a data from a collections, so you can use get method. For updating a data, you need to use update method. For deleting a data, so you need to use delete method. So these all are the set of methods you just need to invoke, and you can easily you can apply field operations in your application. The next one is real-time database. The real-time database is just like it's again a database, but it's a lightweight database as compared to the cloud Firestore. Like if you have a very complex applications where we have a lot of schema, like where we have a lot of user uh, group, like say there is an admin section, there is a editor, there is a let's say normal user, there is a publisher. These kind of hierarchy we have, so we can use the concept of cloud Firestore. But if we have a simple applications, let's say the, lightweight applications, so you can use this database, which is named as Firebase real-time database. Again, this is the same functionality, but again, this is a NoSQL database. Here you can store data in terms of JSON files, and it's a truly serverless architecture, and it's a like it support offline support, but yeah, it's a light version as compared to the cloud file. So here we have a method like if I want to use a real-time database, so it's a lightweight database. So you can use the like operations. Let's say you can apply CRUD operations like for creating or read or update the data. So here, let's say I have a JavaScript variable name is my name. Here we have a value. We can create object with the help of curly braces, and then we have a key value there. Now we need to store the data into the real-time database. So here we can write like first I'm using Firebase. Inside Firebase, I wanted to use real-time database. So here we have a method database, and then we can define a reference like what type on which reference we want to store a data. So let's say my reference name is data, and then we can set the object, and that's it. And also you can append the data with the help of Unity. You can use the concept of push method. So these all are the methods. You can follow the documentation to know more about these database services. Now, the next one part is like I have created applications where we have implemented the services like authentications, like where user can authenticate with Google account, and then user can navigate to their profile, and then user can update their profile, and user data will be stored into the cloud Firestore. Okay. Now there is a one more section for uploading their profile picture. So in the dashboard, user can navigate to the dashboard, and there is a edit options, and then here user can upload the picture, and you can store that particular picture into the storage services. So here you can use the concept of cloud storage. So cloud storage is again a services where you can generate you can store the data in terms of images, uh, video file, media file, any kind of file, and you can trust on these storage services because it's built on Google infrastructure, and it's a strong security base, and you can apply the rules for the storage services. So here I will give you the example. Like similarly, like we have implemented authentications and the database part. So here we can like upload image or maybe media file into the cloud storage. So here we need to create a database reference. So let's say my database reference is dbref. Okay. And then for uploading a file into the cloud storage, we need to use put method, and that's it. So inside a put method, you can pass the file. So let's say I can create a UI for uploading a file. We can a user can select any media file, let's say video, image, or PDF file. You will select the file in a variable, and you can put that particular variable into the put function. And again, this will work as a JavaScript promises, so you can handle with the help of then and caps lock. And that's it. This is a simple logic, and you can build these kind of applications. Otherwise, you need to write a lot of amount of code for the security or the uploading and downloading part. Now, the next one part is, so we have implemented authentication, we have implemented the storage, real-time database or maybe cloud Firestore as a database services. And then we can apply Firebase storage as a service where we can store images. Now we have a website, the website is ready. Now we need to share this website to the user groups. So what we can do here, we can use the concept of Firebase hosting. So here we have a HTML, CSS, or the JavaScript code of your website. What you have to do, you just need to go to the Firebase hosting services. You just need to initialize the hosting, and you can host your website with the help of Firebase hosting. And one of the best thing about Firebase hosting is like you will get free SSL certificate. Like otherwise, like if you are using any third-party hosting service provider, you just need to purchase the SSL certificate. And one of the best thing about like Firebase hosting, like it will be like globally cached in the Google data centers. Like you don't need to manage like it will automatically load balancing your website. Let's say in like Sri Lanka region, I'm getting a lot of traffic from the Sri Lanka region. So Firebase is automatically handle these traffic. You don't need to manage the traffic like from which country I'm getting a lot of traffic, and then we need to increase the bandwidth. So it will be automatically managed by the Firebase itself. And your HTML, CSS, or media file will be stored in the SSD as compared to the for normal optical drive. Because if you search the storage capacity, the speed graph, so we have a SSD which is very fast in terms of reading speed or the writing speed. So your data like HTML, CSS, JavaScript file will be stored in the into the SSD solid state drive. So which is very fast. Like you just need to open a website and you will get the result, the UI, and that's it. And again, this is very easy. You just need to install Firebase CLI, and there will be a three command, Firebase init, Firebase serve for testing your website in your local machine in the computer, and then with the help of Firebase deploy, and that your website is deployed, and you will get the URL. You can customize those URL. You can connect those URL with the help of your domain. The next one part is, as I mentioned, like you can use authentications, you can use cloud storage, you can use Firestore, real-time database, you can use Firebase hosting. But sometimes you need to write your custom business logic. Let's say when the user will enter their data into the database part, you can send a confirmation mail to the user like, thank you so much for uh, like for your for your contact, we will reach out to you very soon. So you can apply these kind of custom logic with the help of cloud functions. So cloud functions is just like this. You can write a custom business logic. Like here, you can write a custom business logic with the help of JavaScript. Like when the user will enter their email ID and password, or when the user will create their email account, you will trigger a confirmation mail to the user like, thank you for sign up for this platform, and we have a lot of services. You can check out these services. So you can do that with the help of cloud functions. And like again, this is a low maintenance. Like you just need to focus on the code part. You just need to write a code, and you just need to deploy that particular code. You don't need to manage the infrastructure. Firebase will take care of all the things, and your code will be managed by the Firebase itself team. And the next one part is like, let's say I have written these kind of custom business logic with the help of cloud functions. Now the next one part is, let's say Firebase extensions. So Firebase extension is just like is a pre-built cloud functions. Pre-built cloud functions means like I have written some sort of logic in cloud functions for sending a confirmation mail. Or let's say I have written some sort of cloud functions for image optimization. let's say user will upload their image, you can reduce the size of the image with the help of cloud functions. But what Google is did, like they have created some sort of, it's a kind of template. They will give you the template, and these template is called as Firebase extension, which is a pre-built cloud functions. So let's say you can use, like you have applications or you have a website where user can upload their image. So you can resize, or maybe you can reduce the size of the image with the help of Firebase extension known as resize image. Or let's say you have applications and user can add some data in your applications. You can translate your text file into any other language with the help of these Firebase extension services. You can send a mail, you can trigger a mail. There are a lot of services you can invoke, like you can send a push notification, many other things. So then next one part is cloud messaging. Cloud messaging is just like, as I mentioned, like you can apply, you can send a push notifications. So let's say I have created a startup and the website, and there are the 100 user who have user has signed up from our website, and now we can send a custom push notifications. Thank you so much for the sign up. We have a offer. You can just go to the push notification. You can click on that particular push notification. You will navigate to the offer part. So you can send a push notifications with the help of cloud messaging. And one of the best thing, like it's a free, like you don't need to pay any charges for sending a push notifications. And you can send a push notifications any devices. Like there is no restrictions. Like you can send push notification to the laptop devices, iOS devices, Android, any other devices, whatever you are using. And you can customize the content of your push notifications. Like say, I wanted to send a push notifications with the with image, or maybe I wanted to send a push notification with GIF file or without image. You can send it, and there is no need to write a code here. Again, we have some set of functions. You just need to invoke that particular functions for sending a push notification, and that's it. So in summary, we have a lot of services for the web developers. Like you can create an entire full stack web applications with the help of Firebase. You just need to focus on the front end part, and then as a backend, you can use these services for with the Firebase. So we have a Firebase authentications, like authenticating the user of your with the help of Firebase authentications. Here we have services like you can authenticate your user with the help of Google, Microsoft, Mailchimp, anything, any third-party email service provider. Or you can write your custom email services provider, like you can create a user with the help of email and password, or maybe phone number authentications you can apply. The next one part is, like as I mentioned, like you can use Firebase as a database. So here we have Cloud Firestore and the real-time database. So Cloud Firestore is a if you want to create a very large-scale web applications, you can use Cloud Firestore, which is a NoSQL database. Here we have a collections and the documents, and inside in a collections we can create a multiple documents, and each collections can have a record, the record in terms of fields. The next one part is real-time database, which is also part of real-time services. Firebase real-time database, which is a lightweight as compared to the Cloud Firestore. And then you can, if you want to upload your media file, you can use Firebase storage services. Or if you want to host your website, you can use Firebase hosting. If you want to write your custom business logic, you can use the concept of file cloud functions. Here we have some set of pre-built configured cloud functions, which is called as cloud Firebase extension. Or if you want to send a push notification, you can use the concept of cloud messaging. So yeah, that's all. Like you're right now you are doing your graduations in your university. If you want to create your project, you can create your project with the help of these services. So now there is a lot of things. Like I will give you a simple example, like what type of projects you can create with the help of Firebase in the web technologies. Like if you are doing a graduation, so I'll give you a simple example. The first simple example is, let's say you are a part of GDSC team or any community. So you can create a registration page with the help of Firebase. So what you have to do, you just need to create a simple things, like you can create a registration form with the help of HTML. We have an input field like email, name, uh, gender, these kind of input registration form you can create with the help of HTML. So now you have created a HTML page, and you can design the HTML page with the help of CSS. The next one part is you can apply the Firebase authentications, like where only authorized person can fill particular form. Like here we have a screen. First, you need to log in with your Google account. Once you logged in with your Google account, you can see the form and you can fill the form. Okay. So now let's say user is logged in with your Google account and user can see the form and user will fill the details. You can store the data into the Cloud Firestore. Okay. So third step is like the first one is we can create HTML files, HTML forms, and then we can apply the authentications like only authenticated user can fill the form. Once the user will authenticate it, they can still see the form and they can fill the form, and we can store that particular form into the cloud store, cloud Firestore. And once the user will fill the registration details into the form, we can send a confirmation mail. Hey, thank you so much for sign up for this event. We will share the more information about this event in upcoming days. So thank you so much. Stay tuned. This kind of message you can trigger with the help of Cloud Functions. Like once the user will fill their registration form, you can send a confirmation mail to the user. This kind of. So here you can use the concept of uh, Cloud Functions, and then your application is ready. Like you have created your HTML page, you have created your HTML form, and you have applied your Firebase authentication service. You can have applied your storage service, the database part, and you have write your logic for sending a confirmation mail. Now you can host your website. So you can host your entire HTML, CSS, JavaScript code into the Firebase hosting part. And yeah, so your hosted URL is ready. You can share your hosted URL to the members, like who can sign up for that particular event, and that's it. So yeah, so this is very easy way. You just need to create a HTML form. You just do in like add authentication service. You can store the data into the store real time or maybe Firestore, and you can apply a logic for the cloud functions for sending a confirmation. So that's all for Firebase. Like if I talk about like in during my graduations, I have built a lot of applications with the help of Firebase for the community events. Like we have used the concept of Firebase for the event registration. We have created a website with the help of Firebase for event promotions. So you can build such kind of applications, or maybe you can create your own portfolio where you can use the concept of database as a service like Cloud Firestore, where we can store our projects and you can collect all the projects from the Cloud Firestore. You can print those projects in your portfolio or the website. So yeah, to know more about Firebase, like there is a lot of services. So you can do dive into e-services. You can just go to the firebase.google.com. Here we have a documentation, and you can explore e-services whether you are working on Android, iOS, or the web development or the game development platform. You can check out the resources like the documentation. Here we have one by one instructions like how we can use these services. And also for more informations, like if I talk about, I have written a lot of articles related to Firebase, like for the web developers, like how we can use these services or maybe authentications. You can check out the Medium articles. I have created a videos like YouTube videos where you can check out the informations about the Firebase, like how we can integrate Google authentications in our web page, or maybe Twitter authentications, GitHub authentications. There are a lot of things. And so we have a Firebase documentation. You just need to go to the Firebase website and you can explore the documentations. Yeah, so it's time for the questions. Like if you have any questions, I am open for the questions. Yeah, I hope the session is
Okay.
understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Vrijraj Singh. So if you're looking for zero configuration hosting for your next single page app or a static website, let's consider Firebase as an option, right? We can say
Yeah.
that Firebase really has a lot to offer. Ayan, sa mga interested mind out there, this is the time to ask questions to our dear guest speakers. Okay, we have some questions here now. Okay. What is the threshold time of cloud functions to run and execute the code inside of it?
Yeah, there is some runtime out inside the cloud functions, but you can focus on the core part. Like you can use the concept of promises and async await concept here. You can write your logic in that particular way, and no need to like think about the threshold time, because it's a serverless architecture. You just need to write a code. You just need to post that particular code into the cloud Firestore service. Sorry, the function services. Google will automatically manage those things. You don't need to manage my properly logic is working or not, or it's executing or not. It will automatically scale your logic.
Okay. There we have an aspiring web developer here, and he or she really want to focus on the front end side. What language would you recommend for him or her?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a front-end developer as well as you can consider me as a full stack developer. I started my journey, or if I want to recommend you to become a front-end developer, first you need to start with HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. The basic fundamentals will give you the strong base, so you can create a simple applications with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now you can deep dive into the framework. Like in the front end, we have a lot of frameworks. Like first one is we have Angular. Like if you want to create a front end applications, the complex application, you can use the concept of Angular as a framework, which is built by the Google. And the second one is you have an alternative framework which is named as Vue.js. So Vue.js is also a front-end framework which is built by ex-Googler Ivan Yu. And the third one is we have React, which is not a framework. It's a library, JavaScript library, which is built by the Facebook. So you can start your journey with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you can explore the front-end framework for creating a front-end application. And and again, it's totally area of interest. You can choose any framework. Let's say you can start your journey with Angular or Vue. It's totally up to you. Which makes you easy. You can start with your any framework and you can create a project, and that's it.
So you should always start from the basic always, okay?
Yeah.
So what is the edge of Firebase versus MongoDB and other databases?
Yeah, yeah. There is a difference. MongoDB is a database, and Cloud Firestore is again a database which is provided by the Google itself. You can trust on the Google infrastructure because we can store the data into the Cloud Firestore, and here we have a lot of services like offline support, like your application is connected with Cloud Firestore. If you are in no network zone, you can still able to access the particular data. You can apply cloud operations. Once you are connected with the internet, it will be synced with our main database part. So these all are the advantage over MongoDB or any other NoSQL database. Again, but I'll suggest you to do not uh, categorize all the things like which is better or which is good. I'll suggest you to explore all the technologies, and again, it's totally based on your problem statement. Like I cannot share like which is better or which is better. It's totally depend on the problem statement. Let's say I have a startup, and for me, like MongoDB is best, so I can use directly MongoDB. Or let's say I have a startup, uh, or for me, I have a data, I want to store the data. So like me as a let's say Cloud Firestore is pretty much comfortable, so I can use Cloud Firestore. It's again totally depend on the problem statement.
Okay. So we have a question here that he wanted to ask if those all service of Firebase is also capable for PHP. He used it recently, but he is struggling because of few docs about it. What?
Yeah, you can use PHP. What you can do here, you can use the concept of cloud functions. You can write some sort of cloud functions with the help of JavaScript where you can integrate PHP. You can create a REST APIs with the help of PHP. There has a lot of frameworks. You can use that things. Awesome. Yeah, most of the services is capable with the help of PHP. And we have an admin SDK. You can use directly admin SDK for directly accessing for all the services in a Firebase.
Okay. So someone is also asking if Firebase and Google Cloud Platform have the same services, but what is the difference between the two?
Yeah. So like Google Cloud Platform is a main set, and inside we have a subset which is called as Firebase. Okay. So whenever you are creating a project in Firebase, so your project will be created in a Google Cloud Platform. So you are using subset of Google Cloud Services, which is called as Firebase. So there is no difference. Google Cloud Platform is a giant, and Firebase is little bit small baby.
Mm. Okay. Is it possible to utilize Django with Firebase?
Yeah, you can use it like you can create a REST APIs with the help of Django. You can deploy those REST APIs, and then you can call these REST APIs in your front end applications, or you can call those APIs in Cloud Functions. Yeah, but directly we don't have any support with Django. But yeah, uh, something is coming up in Django support.
Okay. We have another curious mind here asking, since Firebase provides us the server, which is serverless, isn't a problem since we can handle the server of our application?
So Firebase provides services. Yeah. So what is serverless? Serverless is just like let's say uh, I have created a website and I have deployed this website in regular hosting service provider. So what we have to do, we have to check out the load, like what type of users is visiting our website. Let's say I have used the hosting services having a 300 MB as a RAM. So you don't need to manage the infrastructure. You need to write a code, and you need to focus on the code part and not need to manage the infrastructure, like what type of user are visiting your website. Or let's say let's say next 30 hours, 30 minutes, there will be lot of users who will access your website. So these kind of headaches you can avoid with the help of Firebase hosting, with the help of serverless architecture.
Okay. And then, are there any restrictions in using Firebase?
Uh, I guess no, but yeah, again, it's totally depend on your problem statement. What type of problem you're solving with the help of Firebase. Sometimes you want to use any other services, so you can use any other services with the help of cloud functions. So again, it's like it's totally depend on your problem statement.
Okay. Okay, that's it for this time. For other questions and unread messages, just send us a message on our Facebook page and we will forward it to our speaker later on. Okay. We hope that we answer your concerns and confusions about Firebase. Okay. Mr. Vrijraj, the Google Developer Student Clause, Technological University of the Philippines, Manila, present this certificate to you, Mr. Vrijraj. Thanks for imparting valuable insights in the event GTech Summit 2021, Getting Grounded with Google Technology, given this 11th day of December 2021 via Zoom web conferencing, signed by our GDSC lead and president, Justine Nicole Forbe, and our Chief Executive Officer, John Carlo Dichoso.